Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley and today I've got a very exciting video for you guys. Today I'm finally going to be doing my first ever bookshelf tour, and it's really going to be more like a book room tour because I just use this entire room that is our third and spare bedroom for my bookcases and the sort of like desk area setup that I've got that you'll see in a second. So this is something that I've really wanted to do for a long time, but I just didn't feel like I was really happy with the space before. But now I feel like this is basically as good as it's gonna get anytime soon, so like I might as well just do it. Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me just preface this by saying that I'm not going to go through every single book that I've got because we would be here all day and that just would not be a good time. So we're just gonna do it this way, and I'll just pull out books that I feel like are of note or that I have something that I really want to say something about. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. When you first walk into the room, this is what you see. We've got this closet over here, Kane's dad's guitar on the wall, ignore that. And then we see my shelf set up with the desk, my bookshelves, and my TBR cart. So first we're gonna just sort of walk over here and talk about everything that I've got on this shelf, and I'm gonna go down the row and then we'll look at this desk and what I keep on that. Okay, so as far as this corner goes, as you can see, I've got some pretty cohesive wall art. I'm pretty sure I got them at Michael's and then Hobby Lobby. So moving over into the stand that I've got over here, you can see that I've got this big painting of a pineapple. I've got a terrarium up there, some decor from Home Goods and Instax, a really pretty candle from Target. And then down below you can see that I've got this really cute hanging plant that's hanging from this hook up there, an adorable photo of my son, and then this stack of like orangey peachy books that I thought really looked good right there. I have only read Daisy Jones and the Six, but I absolutely loved that, and the others are books that I predict to be 5 stars. And then I do just have this little like porcelain thing that I keep trinkets on that has a little jean jacket on it that says Weekend Vibes. It's super cute. Then moving down to the next shelf, I've got some more candles, my TBR jar, the Captive Prince trilogy, which I love, and some paper clips in the back. And then down here I just have this wicker basket that I keep like knickknacks in, and my printer paper, different supplies for my planner and arts and crafts and stuff like that, and then my camera case for the Instax. And then down on this very bottom shelf is just my printer and a thing that I use to keep papers and different files and stuff like that, which I just recently went through, which is why it looks so empty, which is good. So then moving over onto my desk, this is sort of the overview that you'll see. So I have my desk chair, that really cute pink blanket and then rug that I got from Target, and the desk is from IKEA, and I just have this stack of bluish green books with this fake orchid on it from Target. I've read Beartown and Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng and absolutely loved both of those books. They are both 5 stars and some of my favorite books of all time now. Then I've got my JBL Charge up there. It's just like a Bluetooth wireless speaker. I've got this super cute lamp that I got from Target for like 12 bucks and it was originally 50, so I'm like really proud of that lamp. And then I just have that pink and gold candle that I got from my job, which smells really, really good. This adorable photo of my son and some markers and Sharpies, and then obviously my phone. And then this just grid that I use to hang photos on. I've got some pictures of my mom and my little brother, and then my son and his dad, and just this really cute like bookish bookmark that I got from Barnes & Noble. It's so cute. It says choose happy, and it's got a little cupcake and a black tassel on it, so you know, love that. It's super cute. And then down in that corner I just have sort of that extension cord box down there and a bunch of adult sci-fi and fantasy books that are stacked along the side because I did not have space for them on my bookshelves. And I don't know if people really care about this, but just inside this drawer I keep like markers for annotating, just some more crafty supplies. I keep all of the journals and my planner all in there. Okay, so this first shelf is obviously my Harry Potter shelf. I have these 2 really cute Funko Pops and then just the US hardcover editions of Harry Potter, and then all of the illustrated editions that are out so far. Moving down to this next shelf then, I've got the entire first quartet of the Seven Realms series by Cinda Williams-Chima. I have not read any of those, but I anticipate really liking them, and I sort of went on this mad hunt to get all of them because I heard that some of them were kind of hard to get your hands on, and I had found a lot of them secondhand. So yeah, that's really all I've got to say for myself as far as that goes. And then I've got Vicious, Vengeful, most of V.E. Schwab books. I'm pretty sure that's all of them for the most part, aside from The Near Witch. I have read Vicious and A Darker Shade of Magic, and then half of A Gathering of Shadows. And then I've got Middle Game by Shauna Maguire over here because this didn't fit with my other Shauna Maguire. And then over here behind Tuxedo Mask, I've got Mockingjay Catching Fire, and then like pretty much all of these were my favorites in like early high school, middle school. And then these three are all books that came out last fall that I was really excited for that I somehow have not gotten around to yet. They're all YA sort of paranormal thrillery situations. And then obviously I've got Sailor Mars, Sailor Moon, and Luna, and then Tuxedo Mask Funko Pops that I keep up here. Those are all super cute. I don't really have too many knickknacks on my shelves except for a few Funko Pops here and there, as you will see. So this next shelf down mostly focuses on YA fantasy. I've got my Shadowhunter books, a lot of which I have read, well, especially just this first series, but then I still need to continue on with Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy and the Bane Chronicles, and then on to this. I do not have the Infernal Devices trilogy because I had it in paperback, which I unhauled, and I need to get them in hardcover so they match. And then I obviously need Lady Midnight and the releases that have come out this year. And then we've got The Last Magician up here, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. We've got the first 4 books in the Fallen Kingdoms series. I've only read this first one, but I found all these secondhand for like $4 a piece, so you know I had to get them. We've got Truth Witch, Girls Made of Snow and Glass, which I actually won in a giveaway, I'm pretty sure, here on BookTube. And then I've got Furyborn and Kingsbane. Furyborn I loved, as you guys probably know, and I've been meaning to get around to Kingsbane. So then moving down to the shelf below that, I've got more YA fantasy, and I've got some really cute Ariel and Sebastian Funko Pops because I love The Little Mermaid. It's one of my favorite Disney princess movies and stories in general. Just like the story of the mermaid in the sea and that whole situation is one of my favorite fairy tales, and especially that Disney princess movie. So down here I've got the majority of Laini Taylor's books in the US editions, which I love. And then I've got just a bunch of YA fantasy. I've read The Enchantment of Ravens, Warrior of the Wild, really enjoyed both of those. Got, you know, some more read YA books, and then The Night Circus, which I have not read yet, but I want to. Wicked Saints, which I did read and didn't really enjoy. It was kind of a mess, but I did enjoy some parts of it. And then obviously that goes into Caraval and Legendary. Caraval I read and did enjoy, but it was also a little convoluted and messy. And then The Gilded Wolves, which I've heard very mixed reviews about. I've got The Graces up here, which is hands down one of the prettiest covers that I have ever seen, so that's why I keep it, even though I've started to read that and it was kind of a mess. I have The Lying Woods and This Is Our Story. This Is Our Story was gifted to me by my good friend Ellie. I will link her channel and she's still making videos down below. And then I've got A Curse So Dark and Lonely, The Wicked Deep, and The Falconer, which I almost unhauled but ended up keeping. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this shelf. Alright, so moving down then to the second to last shelf on my bookshelves. This is obviously my romance shelves, or where it starts. It actually goes over into this next shelf, but we'll get there in a second. I've got a lot of favorites on this shelf. So first you can see I've got all of these white ones right here. I haven't read these two, The Foxhole Court or Atheists Who Kneel and Pray, but I've heard mixed but good reviews about both of those. And then the Paper Princess trilogy, which is admittedly a mess, but one that I did enjoy and devoured within 2 days. And then I've got Bad Romeo over here, which I did enjoy. Black Iris over here by Leah Rader, now Elliot Wake, that I did enjoy as well. And then basically all of Penelope Douglas's books that I have up here, I have really loved and enjoyed, particularly Birthday Girl, and Punk 57 was good, but not as good as Birthday Girl in my opinion, but both were very, very good. I haven't read Kill Switch yet, but Corrupt and Hideaway I also really enjoyed, even though they are a whole ass mess. And I'm pretty sure I gave Corrupt 2.5 stars, but like I always go back to some scenes in that book, so that's a real hate to love relationship between me and Corrupt. Yeah, it's real. And then I've got Killing Sarai and Reviving Isabel because I read Killing Sarai and did enjoy it, so I bought the second one, More and More, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but you know. And then Scarred Souls. This is actually a 2-part bind up by Tilly Cole. This is actually a pretty dark, so I started it but I haven't finished it. And then I've got 2 Colleen Hoovers, neither of which I have read. I've read a few Colleen Hoovers, and for whatever reason the one that I actually do enjoy I don't have, which is It Ends With Us. And then I also own Verity, but I let a friend borrow it. And then I've got all of this Christina Lauren over here. I have read everything that I own by them and enjoyed, except for Love and Other Words. But my favorites are definitely The Unhoneymooners and Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I would highly recommend picking those up. And then I've got Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I started and got like 150 pages into but didn't finish it because I wasn't in the mood for it. And then I've got Fumbled and Intercepted, 99% Mine in the Hating Game, and Fix Her Up. All 3 of these I loved. And then I've got Boys of Brayshaw High by Megan Brandy, which is a very polarizing read, but I honestly enjoyed this one. I'm pretty sure I listed this as a favorite for winter. I enjoyed it. But it is kind of a mess. I'll give it that. It is, but you know. And then there's Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but you know, it was okay. And then my final bottom shelf is kind of a hodgepodge of things. So I've got the Sookie Stackhouse mass market paperbacks that I ended up saving and not unhauling because I got in this kick of paranormal romance video books that I was rereading that I used to really enjoy, so I ended up keeping them because I do remember loving them when I first read them, like in high school. And then I've obviously got the Twilight Quartet and then the Graceling Trilogy, all of which I love. I've got one Kurt Vonnegut book, and then I've got Far From the Tree, which I've heard nothing but good things about, With the Fire on High, and The Poet X, and Heroine, all books that I really, really enjoyed. Descendant of the Crane is down here because I had nowhere else to put it and no other space. I've got Sawkill Girls, which is a great sapphic YA fantasy. I've got the only ARCs I have ever received. I haven't heard the best things about A Place for Wolves, and it's already out, so I don't know if I'm going to get to that. Then I've got Archibald Full Frontal, which was somebody reached out and asked if I wanted to try this, but then when I got it, they had addressed it to Haley in Bookland, so that was a little bizarre. But these 2 I'm actually really excited about, which is By Any Means Necessary and How to Be Remy Cameron by Julian Winters. So these both come out this fall, and I will probably be reading and reviewing those soon. Anyways, moving on. So just more old paranormal YA down here that I wasn't ready to part with. So moving forward then back to the top of the thin shelf in the middle of the 2 next to the Harry Potter shelf, as you can see, just so you can orient yourself. I've got all of my graphic novels stored up here. So as you can see, I've got the Wicked and the Divine bind-ups, I've got the Saga bind-ups, I've got Paper Girls, which I have not read. As you can see, a lot of them still have the packaging on them because I haven't gotten to them yet. I've got these little minions down here that Kane's dad bought me forever ago that I loved because I was like obsessed with Minions. But I have read this first volume bind up of Saga, really, really enjoyed that. Want to reread it so I can continue on. I haven't gotten to these or this at all yet. I have not gotten to Lumberjane. I have read Fence, loved that. Can't wait for the 3rd one to come out. And then I've got Monstrous Volume 1 and 2 back there, which I did enjoy. Sex Criminals was eh. Then this is the Crow special like movie illustrated edition for all my goth bitches out there. Then I've got Blankets because it's real emo hours. My Friend Dahmer, eh. And then some poetry collections up here. I've got more down on a different shelf, which you will see in a second. And then Check Please, which is so cute, and I need to reread / finish because I only read half of it the first time around. Moving down to this next shelf, I keep my YA contemporary hard hitter, YA thrillers, all that sort of situation up here. Sort of from here over, you can see that I've got a lot of YA books that focus on like race and class issues. So obviously The Hate U Give is a heavy hitter. I haven't read On the Come Up yet, but Dear Martin by Nick Stone, Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, and then Love, Hate, and Other Filters I have not read, but these three are all 5-star, really good books. And then Sadie is one of my favorite YA mystery thriller situations of all time. This is in a phenomenal book. Almost everybody I've ever seen review it also feels the same way. And then I've got all of my camera like lens equipment, and then I've got The Wicker King by Kate Ancrum, which I absolutely loved, and I've also got her second book, The Weight of the Stars, which I have not yet read but I really want to. And then these I have not read yet. So then moving down, I keep my bookmarks and page flags down here. As you can see, I've got a couple different packs right there. This is basically all adult thrillers. So I've read some on here. I haven't read most of them on here. Read The Silent Patient, which I have reviewed and loved. And then obviously The Woman in the Window is really, really popular. Still need to get to that. I've only picked up both Sometimes I Lie and I Know Who You Are because of Books and Lala. Lisa Jewell book over here, Watching You, heard mixed reviews. The Mother-in-Law I have started, did not finish. It's like a domestic-y thriller. And then I've got a Ruth Ware book, have not read, and The Missing Years, again picked up because of Books and Lala's recommendation. So then moving down to this next shelf, I've got, again, more YA fantasy and also some adult fantasy down on the shelf. But they're split up so you can tell sort of what's what. So I've got The Devouring Grey, didn't entirely love that, and then I've got Strange Grace right next to it because I think that they're sort of in the similar vein of books. Strange Grace is one of my favorite YA atmospheric spooky fall books of all time. This is a polyamorous YA fantasy. Loved this book. Cannot recommend enough. And then right next to that is Blanca y Roja. Really need to get around to this, but it also fits sort of the color scheme of this shelf and just the ambiance. And I've got The Bells, The Everlasting Rose. I enjoyed The Bells, have not read its sequel. Then I picked up Ever the Hunted because I got it for like $3 on sale, and I honestly love that cover, so here we are. And then I've got Red Sister, this really cool cover that I picked up on Amazon for honestly too much money. I think it was like 25 bucks, and I haven't read it yet, but I've got that. And then I've got Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James, The Bear and the Nightingale, and then Foundry Side, which I really, really, really want to get around to soon. And how gorgeous is that cover? I mean, come on. And every review I've seen for that so far has been positive, but these are all of the adult high fantasy. This is all of the young adult fantasy. So as you can sort of see between these two shelves, there's just sort of like this common theme of the YA fantasy, but we'll get into more of the organization and stuff when I do an overview at the end. So moving on down to the shelf below that, back around full circle to the continuation of my romance shelf. So on this shelf, I would say that these two right here are definitely my favorites. Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan and The Air He Breathes by Brittany C. Cherry. Both are actually women of color, so definitely support their books. They're both beautifully written. I cannot say enough good things about these two books. And then I've obviously got The Deal, The Mistake, The Score, and then The Chase in her follow-up series, all by Elle Kennedy. I have read The Deal and The Mistake. I need to finish The Score and then the fourth book that's in between these two so I can move on to the Briar U series that I know everybody really enjoys. Elle Kennedy is a new adult sports college romance author that everybody really, really enjoys. Her books are great. And then there's The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, which I did enjoy when I read that. And then there's After, obviously bought that just to critique it, which that's why I haven't read it, because, you know. And then we've got Archer's Voice, which I've heard is beautiful, and then The Next Year in Havana, which I have not gotten around to yet. So then the final shelf on this bookshelf is sort of another hodgepodge. It's mostly nonfiction, so just some ones to note are Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig, Difficult Women by Roxane Gay, and The New Jim Crow: Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness by Michelle Alexander. So since I'm already on the floor, we're gonna actually start at the bottom of this shelf. So down here, we've got all of my manga and all of my middle grade. So some things of note are The Flowers of Evil and Orange. I love both of these series. And then A Silent Voice. I loved those. I love Tokyo Ghoul as well. Love that series. And then over here we've got Magnus Chase, that trilogy. We've got some books by Tahara Mafi, and then the Lemony Snicket books, which I've had since I was a kid. They're like all out of order. I have the first 3 and then 9, 10, and 11, so it's just kind of weird. But it'd be like that sometimes. So this is an overview of the shelf. I enjoy it. And now we are moving forward into what is, I'm pretty sure, my favorite shelf on my entire bookcase. And I've got just this shelf of all YA contemporaries. I've obviously got this in sort of like a rainbow, aesthetically pleasing situation. I love the shelf so much. It's definitely my favorite one. I've got Chibi Moon, Sailor Moon, and Tuxedo Mask all in this like angelic white and purple situation. Like I've got my bays. Just the whole thing is just, is the best shelf, I'd say. So some books of note are A Heart and a Body in the World, Made You Up. That is on my August TBR. It was a TBR jar pick. I really want to get to Our Year of Maybe. Black Enough, which is a short story collection edited by E.B. Zaboy. I'm Fine and Neither Are You is something I really want to get to. Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert was actually my first ever live show, my one and only ever live show on Miss Sassy Cassie's channel. Thank you again to them for having me. And then We Were Liars is a YA sort of thriller situation that I read in a day for the first booktubeathon or readathon I ever participated in. So there's that. That twist was interesting. And then one of my favorite books of all time, The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. Love it. The Art of Losing is something I really want to get to soon. And then I've obviously got the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy, and then Dig by A.S. King I really want to get to soon. So yeah, like I said, this is my favorite shelf. It's so cute. So then moving forward, right above that, I've got more adult thrillers. So I still have these Stephen King books, which I will not be getting to, especially these, because of the language he uses. I just cannot stand it. But I did start The Outsiders and get like 100 pages in before I stopped, because I heard that this was sort of like a spin-off for the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, so I had wanted to read these first, but I just cannot stand white characters saying the hard R's, so like I just am not gonna finish that. White Oleander, which was one of my best friend's favorite books of all time, so I picked that up. If We Were Villains, just recently read that. Didn't particularly care for it, but I do want to get around to Night Films soon. Then I've got 2 more Kara Thomas books. I have The Cheerleaders up above, if you guys remember. And then I Let You Go was supposed to have like one of the biggest and best twists, so I need to get around to that soon. Another Ruth Ware. Then a Karen Slaughter book, and you know, there's that, Behind Her Eyes. And then this Marilyn Manson book. I don't know if you guys know, Marilyn Manson is one of my favorite artists of all time. I actually have a Marilyn Manson tattoo, so you know, that's embarrassing. But and then moving over, I've got obviously You and Hidden Bodies. I've only read You, not Hidden Bodies. And then I've got the Girl in 6E full trilogy, which I really want to read. I've got Columbine, which is some nonfiction, and Cold Blood, which is some nonfiction. I bought and read both of those for a class in college. And yeah, I've got the whole Wayward Pines trilogy over there that I haven't read, because you know, I'm just a whole ass mess, but that's fine. So then moving forward into the shelf above that, I've got sci-fi and adult fantasy. So I've read Sleeping Giants, which I loved, and then had the second two in the series that I for some reason have not continued on to, but this full cast audio narrating situation is so good, so highly recommend picking that up. And then I've got the Red Rising trilogy, which I really want to get to. Both Dark Matter and Recursion by Blake Crouch have not read yet, but really want to. Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant, aka Sean McGuire, which is one of the best horror novels about mermaids that I have ever read. It's so good, so spooky. Then I've got Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I really need to get to that. Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I got almost 200 pages into this and did not finish it for some reason. Just wasn't feeling it. And then I've got Illuminate, which I really need to get to. Warcross, that I loved. The Loneliest Girl in the Universe, which was fucked the fuck up. If you really think about it, like if that ever happened to me, I'd be, you know, donezo. But it was good. I read it in a day. And then I've got Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is a new release. Have heard very mixed reviews. The Name of the Wind. These two in softcover. Sunless Suns, recommended by Mel to the Any. And The Tethered Mage, Ancillary Justice. And then the first two books in the Broken Earth trilogy. Very highly and critically acclaimed. Really need to get to these. This is definitely on my August TBR. So moving on, we're back sort of on the level with the YA shelves. And then over here we've got actually two adult fantasies by Naomi Novik, Uprooted and Spinning Silver. I have read Spinning Silver. This is one of the best wintry adult fantasy stories I've ever read. It was beautifully written. Then we got Dry, Scythe, and Thunderhead, all by Neil Shusterman. We've got the Three Dark Crowns trilogy. I have read the first two and enjoyed them. Got this sort of short story collection. We've obviously got the Raven Cycle right here. I have only read the first two though and did really enjoy it. I want to continue on with that this fall. And then we've got the Kiss of Deception trilogy. Have not gotten around to it. I actually made it most of the way through this first one, but I was listening to it on audiobook, and for some reason I think I felt like it was spoiling the like mystery situation that's in this, so I put it down. But I do want to get to these because otherwise what's the point of just having them, you know? And then the Winter's Curse trilogy, which I read and loved. And then over here we've got the first three in the Every Heart a Doorway series. I've only read this first one. It was okay. So then moving on to my last shelf on this bookshelf, and this is basically my hype train bookshelf. So up here we've got the entire Throne of Glass series, then we've got the entire Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. We've got some Leigh Bardugo books. Have not read any of these, by the way. Have read everything by Sarah J Maas except for these two. And then we've got the Red Queen, first three in that series, which I've read the first one. I don't think I'll ever read the other two, so I'm not entirely sure why I still have those. Those could potentially get unhauled soon. And then obviously up here, got some more Sailor Moon Funko Pops, Sailor Venus and Artemis, Sailor Mercury, and Sailor Jupiter over there. So there you guys have it. That is actually it for my bookshelf, but there's actually this TBR cart that I keep over here that I want to show you guys, and then there's one shelf in my room that has a lot of my faves on it as well that I will show you. So up here is where I keep my TBR for the month and all of the books that I've read physically so far this month. So over here we've got The Last Wish, The Right Swipe, House of Salt and Sorrows, Three Women, and Dream Fever. And then in this first shelf in the TBR cart, I've got a bunch of YA contemporary that I recently picked up in a very aesthetically pleasing way that I really want to get to that I did not have room for on my shelves. And then finally on this bottom shelf, we've got all of my Shatter Me books and the gorgeous paperback editions of the Mistborn trilogy, the box set. Again, had no place to put those and didn't want to just shove them over with my adult fantasy books. So that's the TBR cart, guys. I love it. Looks great next to my shelves. Very aesthetically pleasing. And yeah. So just when y'all thought y'all were tired of me and my bookshelf tour, nope, there's still more. So this is my final shelf in my room. I've just got some light decor over here, but I did want to talk about what I've got on the shelf. So I've got this really cute sign here with some potpourri, and then I've got some favorites with the Undead Girl Gang autobiography and Radio Silence. And then over here I've got some adult mystery thriller. The Kind Worth Killing is a great book. The Devil All the Time I have not read, or In a Dark Dark Wood. Basically everything else I haven't read, but I'm anticipating it being really good. All the Ugly and Wonderful Things is a story that I want to get to, but I'm kind of scared of because of the content and subject matter. So like I said, this is just this cube shelf here, so we're gonna take a closer look at this stuff then. Alright, so here I've got all of my book of the month books in this rainbow spine situation. I really love the way this looks. But then moving down to this last shelf over here, like I said, I've got a lot of favorites. So I've got The Poppy War, Nevernight, and God's Grave. I haven't read God's Grave yet, but all of those I love. Then I've got The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King. The Farm and the Flat Share definitely don't go over there, but you know, nowhere else to put those. And then just gonna pan over quick, I've got How to Make Friends with the Dark, The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, Summer of Salt, Ramona Blue, We Are the Ants, The Serpent King, and Wilder Girls are on my TBR for August. And then I've got Sirius Moonlight and Alex Approximately, both by Jen Bennett. All of these sort of have this theme of YA contemporary. They're all aesthetically pleasing once again. They're all supposed to be very hard-hitting, so they all live right here. I love the way these look. And then moving on to this last shelf over here, this is obviously all adult high fantasy. So The Priory of the Orange Tree, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson, and then The Savior's Champion, The City of Brass, and then Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this bookshelf in my room. So there you guys have it. Those are all of my bookshelves and all of the books on them and all of my faves and the aesthetic and the decor in this room that I really, really love and had a really good time putting together. This room is obviously by far my favorite room in my entire house. I'm very fortunate to have been able to put this together. I love it so much, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really tried to make it as short as I possibly could, so sorry if this was really long. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.